Hello everybody, welcome to the Steckline Report. Well, as we head towards the end of the year, folks, what a gift we've had at the end of this year, going into 2015. I've never seen Christmas presents like this in my life. And you're going to say, what's that all about? Well, stay tuned, I'll tell you in just a minute.
I first got started in the cattle business. My wife and my father-in-law got me into it. I love dealing with the animals and being in the outdoors. At American Ag Credit, I know a lot of them are in the same business that I am. Therefore they understand what I need and what problems I'm against, so they can work with you on it, and it makes it much easier.
It's been passed down to me through the generations, and I want to pass it on down to the next generation or two.
Friends, it's Christmas time, isn't it? Merry Christmas. Hope you've had a good year. And I got to tell you, this December has got some news attached to it that could make 2015 even better. And you're saying, Steckline, what's the matter? Have you been talking to Santa? I guess I have, and here's the reason why. First of all, let me tell you that we've got a brand new partner in the business of agriculture and other businesses as well. It's the folks that want to buy our products. And when we export more, by golly, we just get a better price for it. And there's been a country that I've been working with and around and on for about 10, 12 years. I've been to that country 4 times, 2 or 3 times with secretaries of agriculture trying to get something done to open up trade. And it's a country, friends, only 90 miles from our border. You know I'm talking about Cuba. I've reported from there several times, and I've been there and enjoyed myself very, very much. Talking to the people that buy the grain, talking to the people that use the grain and try to farm a little bit with their hose. I got to tell you, the people of Cuba are fantastic. They were so good to us, I can't even begin to explain that. But more importantly, President Obama says we cannot keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So he's normalizing relationships with China or with Cuba that will really end a half-century of embargoes. Now, I got to tell you, we have not had an embargo on grain, but the problem has been they've had so many attachments to it, they being the folks in Washington, that it was impossible for Cuba to do any business with us, requiring cash payments up front before products were even shipped. I told you about this when I was in Cuba. That's the biggest problem, that the guy that buys for Allenport for the Cuban government, sitting across the table from me, said, if you could get rid of that problem, I'll buy wheat today. He says, give me a contract. And I reported that to you several years ago. Well, now we can do it, I hope. In any event, we not only required cash payments up front up until now, the payments had to go through different banks in other countries, and they charge big, hefty fees that the folks couldn't hardly stand. So what have they done in Cuba? 90 miles from our border, they traveled 3,000 miles primarily to France to get their grain. You can imagine what that cost them. So we're helping them and we're helping us. I think we've got 500,000 tons of wheat sold to them, maybe even next year. And we sure have that much in the next year or two per year. And I think it'll climb to 750,000 in not too distant future. Brand new business, friends. Ought to mean something to somebody on the Board of Trade. I hope they take it serious. Enough of that. China. Guess what China's doing? They're removing their GMO problems from corn. And they've bought 900,000 tons of distiller's grain already. And it looks like they could buy a bunch more. I'll talk more about that on another report. Wheat climbed to the highest in almost 7 months. Why? Because of Russia. They've got a problem. They're concerned about having enough. They're not giving some certificates to shippers to get their grain out. Why? I'll talk about that later too. And guess what? I can wrap up the year by saying we've passed Section 179. Now this is just a little bit of present. It allows farmers to deduct $500,000 worth of purchases, not just farmers, but any business, for equipment or whatever for their business. But it's, guess what? You got to do it in 2014. 2015, friends, won't work yet. Maybe somebody in Washington will get their head straight and get it passed for then. Let's hope so. See you later.